What's going on, Alpha Raiders? James DeWin here with the Alpha Red Comic Channel. I'm just getting into the office here. Just had a church meeting, so we were there too late. Too late. There was some insurance talk. My church suffered a thing because of the cold, and a lot of it isn't covered. Not because I don't know what I'm doing as their insurance rep, but it's because of things. But who cares? Well, I do care because it's my church. But we are here to draw. We are here to take a look at Spider-Man. If you're new to the channel, I am the creator of Alpha Red, and on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. we get together and we close out the weekend with some drawing and some comic talk. And if you don't chime in, then I just blather on about Alpha Red and try to convince you that it's the next best thing and that you should support it by going to fundalphared.com or shopalphared.com, where I'm crowdfunding for issue number 8. So, but I just turned on all the buttons, guys. So I apologize for my discombobulation, but I did try to set it up beforehand, and we'll talk about what my weekend has looked like. It's been quite the I thought I was just going to swap out I'm gonna add a screen here, add the drawing board. Ba-ba-da-ba. Can I do that? There we go. There we is. But yeah, I was trying to be Mr. Handyman and swap out a sink that we had bought for a renovation, and the renovation didn't go through because the quote that I originally got from the contractor, who was a guy I knew from church, he said, "Yeah, I can do it for like $7,000. I'd swap out that shower for you." I was like, "Oh, okay." And he came over and he's like, "Okay, let me get my plumber friend over," because I had a problem with a leaky shower originally. So my wife decided to try to make it a bathroom renovation. So he came over. He had his plumber friend come over. He's like, I'm not gonna do it unless you're serious about it. So to show me that you're serious, you got to buy all the vanity, the tiles and all that stuff and stage it. And so whenever I'm ready, I can come right over and do it between, all the other jobs that I have. And so in good faith, we went out and bought all these things. Wait a minute. I didn't say hi to everybody in the comments. Well, let me jump in here and say hello to the man, the myth, the legend. Mr. Fong is in the house. And now for the conclusion of the Superman versus Amazing Spider-Man. What's going on? Hello, my name is Ben. How are you? How are you, Ben? Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you hanging out. Where I drew this last week. This is actually a treasury size edition. It is 10 and a quarter by 13 and a half. That's 10 and a quarter this way, 13 and a half this way. So it really feels like a large undertaking that I'm taking on here. I typically do just like a sketch cover, but this feels like a whole shebang. But I appreciate you guys being here, hanging out, and watching me draw and talk about the techniques of drawing. These are poses that I got from an anatomy book called Masters of Anatomy, where I bought it off of Kickstarter, where it just had a bazillion poses, mostly comic book poses, to be honest with you, and most of them recognizable comic book poses from some of my favorite artists. And so I went ahead and got it, and it's been a treasure trove of poses that I use when I have artist block. And because I am in the throes of Alpha Red number 8, trying to finish that up, and I've largely finished. So this is how I write. So I'll print out a copy. Once I get all the pages done, this is all 24 pages of Alpha Red number 8. And then I'll go in, and usually I'll have a version where the black inks aren't quite as dark. And then I'll go in and I'll write out the dialogue. I'll write out the narration, and that kind of gives me an idea of how much I can write and how much I shouldn't write. And it does kind of get away from me anyway, because once I type these things in, I tend to add a little bit extra in, but I won't flip too far into. This is up to page 19, but I have it posted other places online. So if you are interested, I am crowdfunding for Alpha Red number 8. But that's just to kind of give you an idea of what issue number 8 has in store if you are not familiar with Alpha Red. Now, Alpha Red is typically just a superhero comic. And the reason why it looks like a wrestling comic this time around is because that's intentional. The storyline is that he needed a break. So he goes with his friend, Crazy John, who's a fan of pro wrestling. And he goes and he agrees to go to a match with him. And chaos ensues, as you do for a comic book. Otherwise, it's just kind of boring. So you know that you had to have some kind of superhero level chaos happen in order for it to be worthy of your $5. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that like button. It shows it out to more people, they tell me. The algorithm smiles on it, and they say, well, the people who are watching it, they like it. And so they go out and they show it to more people. And then if more people hit the like button, so I'll ask again and again and again if you would hit that like button. If you're new, just pop it in. That would help the computers, the bots, whatever, kind of show it out to other people. So what I try to do is, if no one's asking me any questions while we're doing this, I'll kind of give you a play-by-play as to what I'm thinking as I'm laying down some of these lines, like the anatomy, the shadowing, the different rendering techniques that I kind of go in and out of. Right now, I'm on this 90s style rendering, like the Jim Lee-ish stuff. So, and it's much easier to do some of these characters that everybody's familiar with, especially me. Spider-Man and Superman made it easy because I didn't have to use any references. So this year, at the beginning of this year, I was trying to highlight, or I don't know, the subject matter was going to be mostly indie comics. And so the hard part about making indie comics my subject matter for the year is that every draw stream then requires reference. So I am glad to have one that does not require any reference. So last week didn't either, obviously, because it was Superman. And if we have time, I'd like to color the Superman. I always say that. I always say, oh, this drawing's coming in fast. So hopefully we'll get another step in. But then it just doesn't happen because I get busy talking, and then it doesn't get as far as I'd like it to. So, my name is Ben says, did you ever involved in sign painting? No, I don't think I can say that. I mean, I've painted signs for church picnics, and my church used to have a chicken barbecue, but outside of like letters or arrows on a sign, I have not tried to draw a ginormous image on a wall, or have I ever done it on a wall? I don't think I've ever even done it on a wall, to be honest, Ben. Good question though. I mean, I've thought about it. I've walked into movie theaters where they have like a montage of familiar movies, and I've judged the quality of some of the painting and the drawing, and I'm like, I could do better than that. But I wonder how much that person got paid, because maybe they didn't get paid as much, and I don't just have time to stop everything that I'm doing to draw a better poster on their wall of my favorite things. But Fong says, fun fact, DC and Marvel's first joint publication was a treasury-sized issue of Wizard of Oz. That is a fun fact. Brother Fong is full of them. The Geeky Catholic Ernest says, are you coloring Spider-Man 2? I was going to color, I was going to start with this, with the, I will, because I've committed to, in my mind at least, coloring both of them. So the answer is yes. I'm hoping that if the Spider-Man goes by quickly, I will be able to color the Superman. And the reason why I wouldn't color the Spider-Man right away is because I want to allow the ink to dry, because I have been impatient before and messed up some pictures by jumping in there too soon. One, with the erasing. The erasing, if the ink is still wet, will smudge, and that's no fun. I've had to correct many a picture that I was too impatient to wait for the ink to dry on, and thus made it less desirable for people because of the smudging. So if you are... What's going on? Brother Benny is in the house. Happy Sunday, y'all. I see there's another Ben. Another Ben in the house. We're surrounded, guys. We're surrounded by the Bens. Can we get another Fong? What are the chances we're gonna get another Fong in the chat? Are we ever gonna be surrounded by Fongs? The possibilities are small. I think I only have one Alpha Raider named Fong. But yes, I'd love to, actually, in anticipation of it, one of the hesitations that I have about coloring stuff is that I don't have enough of the color, and then it gets all streaky, and then I'm waiting, and the patience thing again. Just want it to be done and cool, and I want to share it with everybody. So I went out and bought some blue, the color blue, and I had already bought the color blue in anticipation of drawing many more things that require blue and red. So I went out and bought the color orange, which, like orange Sharpies, dry red to the eye. And then if you use the actual red, it is a very deep, like blood red. So a while ago I bought blue, in anticipation of drawing more Superman, Captain America, Batman. They're all like blue in some iteration. But it turns out that it was a slightly darker blue than I wanted. So I found that Sharpie's blue highlighter presents a really light blue that I enjoy the look of. So that is the blue so I ordered a whole box of blue Sharpie highlighters. And so that is what I will use to lay down the base for Mr. Superman's suit. So that is why I'm even offering it, because it did come in yesterday whilst I was losing my mind doing plumbing and looking for ways to stop the water from coming out of my bathroom wall if I turned on the house water. I thought that it was going to be an easy, quick fix. I was anticipating maybe 3 to 3.5 hours to my bathroom project, and it ended up taking about 12 hours and costing me about $700. I was, and plus it was stupid spring forward day for the time zones. And I was volunteering at church this morning. There was just all these things that were working against me. And we had the church meeting tonight. So I was kind of rushing around. And I'm still not done with the stupid bathroom vanity project. And so we were rushing around to get ready for church, the church meeting, the members meeting. And I squirted all this Shiraka sauce all over my pants because I was in a rush. So mad. All right. Let's see if that is a good position for the head. Is it a good size for the eyes? I'm not quite a McFarlane eyes, but I'm also not. I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's maybe stick with this. Maybe I will go with a more John Buscema. Is it John Buscema who's known for the making the Spider-Man, like the classic Spider-Man that we are used to seeing? Let's give him normal Spider-Man eyes, just because this is a classic comic, and we don't want to be heavy-handed with the modernization of said Spidey. Let's make sure that we have a good handy dandy reference of him. And just like we talked about last week, guys, this is the way to enjoy this book. The size of this Treasury edition is just makes it so. I love flipping through it, and I do have my own copy, so I'm not flipping through this one. So if you are interested in buying this, I will have this up. I will have this up on Etsy shortly, and it will be posted with that I'm going to do it in color. So let's see. Yep. All right. Yeah. Like, you gotta have the just the right amount of webbing. I see guys like kind of go crazy with the webbing on the face and stuff, and I'm like, no. I think John Romita Jr. is one of my favorites for Spidey. Let me see if I missed anything. Let me see. There's another Ben. Ryan from Zebra Comics says, hey, man. How you doing, Ryan? Thank you for being here. Ernest says, do you think it's time consuming for all the lines for webs on his suit? It is time consuming, but I really like it. There's something calming. If you ever mowed your lawn, right? It's like similar for me, like mowing the lawn. Like there's an art to it. There's a cathartic satisfaction to it. I don't know if I'm using cathartic right, but it sounded like a really smart word, so I'm going to use it, cathartic. Brother Fong says it's all about the Benjamins. New Ben says, I was always intrigued by band logos and anything that has mesmerizing graphics like Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger album cover, and the band Chicago. Yeah, like the artsy. Yeah, I get you. I'm not familiar with the logos of Soundgarden or Bad Motorfinger, but the Chicago album covers are something that I used to stare at. Old Benny says, you've got blue, huh? That would be perfect for Invincible. We'll find out next week. We shall find out next week. Good pose, says Ryan. Thank you, sir. Old Benny says, bathroom projects are terrible. You ain't kidding, brother. You ain't kidding. I ended up over tightening a shower cartridge $2,000 later, and it was fixed. Wow. So, of course, yesterday was Saturday, and I was trying all day to get this shower and this vanity put in, and it was getting late. So it was like 5:30 in the evening, and we couldn't turn on the water because all I had were these pipes sticking out of my walls, and so if I turned them on, I tried to stop it with anything, but because of the damage that I did to these pipes, there was nothing that I could put over them to stop the pressure of the water if we turned on the water. So I started calling around for plumbers, and everybody was like, oh no, we can fit you in on Tuesday. Oh, maybe Monday we can fit you in. And this was Saturday at 5:30 in the evening. And I was like, that ain't gonna fly. So I said, keep me on the schedule just in case, but I'm gonna keep calling. And so my son said, I went to Bible study with this kid from my previous church. And so he called him up, and sure enough, the kid came over. I say he's a kid, but he's probably 27, 28. And so he had us fixed up by, he almost had us fixed up by like 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then he over tightened something inside the wall, and it cracked something inside the wall. So he ended up being there until roughly 8:30. So after I spent about $200 on things that I'm hoping that I can return, but I may or may not be able to return. I gave the guy $500 for coming out. Otherwise, we would not have water. All right, let's take snap a quick picture of the pencils on this bad boy. And then we're gonna moving on. Let me see if I brought. Nope, I don't have a thing to recharge my phone while we're doing it. So it's going off. And this is the fun part. We're gonna have some fun. Oh, is that why? Why is this? My blue, there it is. A little blue rubber band that I keep on here slipped off, and that just tells me what size ink pens to use. So this is, if you're new, we got new Ben. So I use this Precise rolling ball Pilot V5, extra fine. So So they only have like a size, a V5 and a V7. And so the V5 is a Morphine, obviously. You know what? Well, let's get the shape of his head. Let's go in for the shape of the head. Come on. It's usually pretty good about laying down some ink here. Let's set that guy aside. Set that guy aside. I was just bragging on the paper. There we go. Last week, I believe, saying that DC has come a long way when it comes to sketch cover paper. And I was going to be disappointed there, but maybe it's just the pen. And usually I brag about my pens. These Precise, these Pilot, is it Precise? Yeah, Precise rolling ball. I don't know if you guys can see that. It looks a little blurry, but it says Precise and then rolling ball underneath it there, if you're interested in trying them out. So the ink is nice and dark, which I really enjoy. I really like it. And when I use my kneaded eraser on it, it doesn't take away from the darkness of it. Whereas with my microns, my Pigma microns, I will use them and they look dark. And then when I go to erase the pencil, it lightens the darkness of the inks. So when I go to scan them in, they come out like with black, like white dots in them. Not ideal. Not ideal. Let's see if I missed anything. Did I? Sometimes I just stop reading. I shouldn't just stop reading. Ernest says, I tried to change my faucet in the tub and I bent the copper pipe. Yikes, $900 to fix later. I feel you, brother. I do. Yikes. The Alpha Raiders need a plumber on a retainer. For real. For real. I think I need a different name besides Old Ben. Maybe Golden Age Ben. Nice. Nice. You'll be Brother Benny and then New Benny. How's that? Brother Benny and New Benny. Funk says, Classic Ben. We'll just keep it Brother Benny. Brother Benny and New Ben. It does, like, unless you're old, you're actually old and you embrace it. I can see where Old Ben is not a favorable way to be referred to. All right. We got the good eyes. Actually, let's make them just a little bit thicker and make the whites a little bit smaller. I think that's the way. That's the way. You like it. Yeah, the eyes are much smaller. So we'll just keep going on the inside here and making it look more classic, but not like Classic Ben. That's a whole different. There we go. So we'll keep it like that. Keep it like that. And hopefully, let me see if I have to make his body bigger, because now I think I went a little big on the head. Let's see if I can let's see what I can do here to maybe make the shoulder. Let's put these down. Lest I make a mistake there, right there. So that leg can be going back. You can't be afraid to erase. That is especially if you still have the time, the opportunity to correct that thing. Correct that thing. Correct that thing. Like I see the guys who are doing the digital stuff, so jealous. They're just like, boop. Let's make that bigger. Oh, let's make that smaller. I would have just made the head smaller, and all would have been swell. But here we are, redrawing. I don't mind. So I should have did this in the first place here, where I do one line all the way down for the web, and then when I go back through, I don't make it right there. Make that black right there, and then this will be the black part or the blue part, because they do make it very blue. And I'm sure it was a limitation back when they were printing way back yonder in the old days. Brother Benny says it's perfect. Brother Benny is perfect. Nice. Not unless you're an old Obi-Wan, old Ben Kenobi. Yeah. Well, he was also hiding, right? Ben Kenobi was hiding from the Empire, from his what do you call him? His protege. They wouldn't call them proteges. His underling. His underling Jedi. I keep thinking Padawan, but that's Padme, and that. What do they call young Jedi apprentices? Was it just apprentice? Maybe I happened upon the word. Getting over my old manness. I think I've made his head so big that it's going to be hard to overcome with just a simple stretching of the arm. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Let's shrink the head. Let's shrink the head this way. There we go. Got a happy accidents. Was that you, Ernest, who reminded me that Mr. Bob Ross would have happy accidents? Or was that Spicer McLeroy? Somebody gave me that comforting phraseology where it doesn't feel as catastrophic. Once you make a mistake, you're like, ugh, happy accidents. And if you didn't know that I didn't mean to do it, I would just never bring it up. Never bring it up to you. Fong says, speaking of DST, what is DST? Sleep experts. Oh, daylight savings time. Sleep experts say standard time should be permanent. I don't know why we don't listen to the experts. Yeah, whatever. Well, I mean, whatever it is now, I prefer, because this is when we get more light, right? More daylight, longer. I didn't realize that, I guess, in the South, because you're closer to the equator, that you end up pretty much with a very similar day in, like, throughout the year. You don't have like up here in the Northeast, where in the winter you get the sun going down pretty early. It can go down around 4:30, depending on how far up the East Coast you are. And so I like it. Whatever it's just turned into, if we can keep it here, we'll get daylight in the summer as far out as like almost 9 o'clock in the evening. And so it wouldn't really turn darkness until like 5:30 would be kind of the earliest we would go darkness. And that is plenty fine with me because 4:30 is just ridiculous. It only happens for about like a week and a half, 2 weeks where it's that bad. And then you get to Christmas, the solstice, the winter solstice or whatever. And then it starts getting slowly brighter. And so the hope of having more daylight, waking up to a brighter and brighter morning is gives you enough hope to get you through the rest of the winter. Because here we've been getting slammed with snow all winter. But just as I'm saying that, it was like 60, I think the high that I saw while I was driving around yesterday trying to fix my bathroom. My car said it was 66 degrees. That's the warmest it's been since it started getting cold at the end of October, beginning of November of 2025. So we have not seen those temperatures for months. And I was driving like a bat out of Hades all over Syracuse looking for parts. Yeah, so the guy who saved me, he was almost done. It would have been a much cheaper night had he not over twisted the thing inside the wall, because then he had to cut out the thing in the wall. Then he needed a blowtorch. He didn't have any of his tools, so I had a bunch of tools that he needed, but there are some things that I don't need. But thankfully, my son has some at his shop. He had a blowtorch, and I do have a blowtorch, like a little handheld blowtorch thing. Except my other son, who was not at home, he used it up, fixing up his car. Actually, he was fixing up the car, my wife's car, that he got into an accident in. And so he's been fixing that up. And so my son had to run out to his shop. My other son, older son, who has a lawn care business, ran out and got the blowtorch so that they could get the broken piece of pipe inside the wall off of the other pipe. It was such a mess. But praise God, that guy was willing. He gave up his Saturday night to help us out. So I gave him what I thought was fair. I mean, I heard that they could get paid even more. He spent 1, 2, 3, 4. He spent 3.5 hours at my house. So how much do you think you would pay for a plumber on a Saturday night for 3.5 hours. Ernest says, yes, no more changes. Keep it how it is right now. Right now. Where's Marco Rubio? That was his only shtick when he was a senator. Like, when that daylight savings time would come around, that was his thing. Like, no more, no more. And I'm like, come on, this is all you got. And then now he's practically running the world. So Funk says, my wife and I are actually traveling right now. We stayed overnight at a friend's place, and we needed to leave her home at 7:15 a.m. this morning since she was on her church's worship team. Wow. Funk says, that's my daylight savings time change horror story. Brother Benny says, as a teacher, I can definitely say daylight savings time is horrendous. The kids are going to be cranky tomorrow. Oh man, I don't miss the kids at that time. Well, my wife used to do this. We only did it for like a year or two, or because I remember. Anyway, she would change it 15 minutes every day, approaching daylight savings time. So it messes us up in the house as far as like what the house clocks were concerned. But she would be putting the kids to bed like just 15 minutes earlier every day for 4 days. It was kind of genius. But then things changed, and either we weren't able to do that, or we could just sleep in. That's the beauty of homeschooling. You kind of get up, roll out. They would wave at the school buses as they drove by. True story. That's how my family rolls. That's how they roll. So if you haven't hit the like button yet, guys, that apparently that juices up the algorithm. So if you could hit that like button, get this shared out to more people. Super excited for you guys to read Alpha number 8. I don't know if you were in here earlier, but this is how I write the dialogue. It gives me an idea of the space it takes to tell the story. So I print it out, and I usually print it out in a lighter ink or different color. And then I'll take a red felt tip pen. It's not always that way, but that's ideal for me. I forgot to give him some webs. Where are your webs, Spider-Man? Let's see what kind of webs they used back then. They didn't use spaghetti. No biscotti. No biscotti. He just jumps around a lot. Not a lot of webs. I'm not seeing a lot of webbing. Lots of wall crawling, sticking to walls. All right. Just a little squiggly, it looks like a snake shed its skin there. I don't know if you guys can see that. But that's what that reminds me of. Let's do it in pencil first before we have to fix it again. Let's put his knuckles back here, lest we forget. All right. And should we do the snaky stuff over this way? Shedded snake skin over yonder way. Or we'll just do it short. We'll make it like it's coming out the top of his hand there. But I just did get some more colored pages from Federico. I assume he does not listen to to my YouTube draw streams, unless he hears my frustration that every time I pay him, it seems like he goes on vacation. It's his wife. She gives him away. She posts it online. And I don't begrudge a guy for going on vacation. I just want my pages done. I mean, the project will be over and the money will still be there. Those vacation spots, they shall be there. One smooth stroke if you can. Makes it look like a more confident line. Like you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. But the colors are looking awesome. And I do have to fix some things, but by and large, they are fantastic. And I let him know that I'm happy with them, and I will make some of the changes that where he didn't get it quite right as I pictured it in my head. In my head now. In my head. Is that a 90s song or an early 2000s song? I don't even remember. I'm so far away from the music I used to listen to before I was saved that I don't remember. I mean, some things I do remember. But if I didn't own the album, I don't think I remember it much. Brother Funk says they actually tried to make daylight savings time permanent one year, but changed it back when some kids were killed on the way to school in the South because it was so dark. What? The CIA will stop at nothing in the wintertime. Ay. I mean, natural selection and all, you know. I'm kidding. I keyed. See, that's fun. The webbing, Ernest, it is fun. Like just trying to think of. I mean, I've always wanted to draw Spider-Man, like an issue of Spider-Man, whatever. So, Spider-Man is probably, if I had a favorite, he used to be easily my favorite. I used to easily just say Spider-Man's my favorite. But now it's just, can he be my favorite if I don't pick up the comic every month? I feel like I would be misleading people. They would assume that I know what's going on in a Spider-Man comic currently, which I do not. So, but really, right now, my favorite comic is Alpha Red. And I know it sounds self-serving, but I just like the story. I like his look. I like just all the stuff. So my my older two kids, they're in their early 20s, and they went to a young adults thing at our church. And I guess one of the questions, these get to know you questions, was who's your favorite comic book character? And neither one of them said Alpha Red. Can you believe it? It's time to kick these kids to the curb. They totally blew it. I don't think my daughter's in charge of the thing, so I don't know that she sits there with the other kids and the young people and answer the questions and stuff. But my second born, my middle child, so it's Batman, Dad. You know my favorite's Batman. And I said, no, Alpha Red. He's like, oh, sorry, Dad. Christopher Works 400 says, sweet. Thank you, Christopher. What comic artist doesn't want to draw an issue of Spider-Man? That's what I'm saying. I think Jim Lee complained about it one time. Like, he doesn't like doing the webbing because he thinks it's like too much like doing 3D stuff, and that's, even though he does it well. Actually, if you see his Superman, Spider-Man cover that he has, dude, look at the hands. I'm like, Jim Lee, what are you doing? What are you doing with the hands? If I have some time, I'll pull it up and we will mock Mr. Jim Lee for not knowing what to do with Spider-Man's hands. And it even goes for a Superman's hands then too. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Jim Lee, don't embarrass yourself. Like, have someone fix those Spider-Man hands for you. I will show you. And we can mock Mr. Lee's Spider-Man hands together. It is very much beneath him. Very, very disappointed. Mr. Lee, why did you let that happen? So if you guys want to look it up as we prepare, you can tell me if I'm being a little bit too persnickety about how Jim Lee drew Spider-Man's hands. Maybe we can blame it on Scott Williams, but we can't, because I've actually seen the pencils, and he's pretty much inking what Jim Lee laid down, and it is funky awful. It is crazy bad. And Jim Lee's my guy. So, with love, Mr. Lee. This is said with love. Redraw those hands. Redraw those hands. So what do you guys think of, I don't know if it was part of what Rob Liefeld was saying about the Warner Brothers buyout by Paramount, but he said that possibly as they shake up and realize what a small part of their budget and profits are that they get from the comic books, that they would sell it off. And I think it was Rob Liefeld who said, what if Marvel bought the rights to publish DC characters? He said it would be game over. You know, they could carry on their line, and they could cross over whenever they wanted. And then they could even have a shared universe if they wanted. But he said that, what if that's already kind of happening? And maybe Jim Lee is kind of stepping out or whatever, because he did that Gambit picture, those Gambit pages that I talked about last week. And maybe that's just kind of him signaling that there's more of this to come. And it's no surprise that he used Gambit, because he owns Gambit. Well, he created Gambit. So if he had anywhere close to the deals that Rob Liefeld had with the characters that he created for Marvel, with Deadpool and Cable and all those guys, which it sounds like nobody has quite the sweetheart deal that Rob negotiated for himself, where he gets a little piece of all of what they do with Deadpool and Cable and the like. But if Jim Lee is smart and he comes back and he jumps back into X-Men, that would bring a lot of people back to comics. And if he just did four or five a year, 4 or 5 comics a year, I think his fan base would be plenty happy. We're almost done here with the Spider-Man, so we can jump on over. Get on up. Let's do some really dark. We gotta add that contrast, right? Right, guys. It's been a long time since we talked about the contrast that makes a thing pop in comics. Just really brings out the some of the other line work when you have these drop shadows and they're just kind of bold and kabamski. Just makes some of the things just pop. Let's see, what do we got here? What do we got? Let me see. All right, Christopher says Jim Lee does an awesome Spider-Man. He does, but look, oh, I forgot. We'll look up his drawing for the Superman Spider-Man cover, and we will laugh very loudly. Ooh, Brother Funk says they didn't say Alpha Red, right? It's like blasphemy, these kids. But he's the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. That's right. Brother Ernest says 100% Funk. Amen to that. Just waiting for Jim Lee to finish drawing Hush 2. Yes, still waiting. Now he pushed it back to, I think, the end of April, beginning of May or something like that, so that he could do these extra pages for Superman, Spider-Man. Christopher says, I have heard stories of DC artists that have been given the okay to do work with Marvel. Hey. Wait, what? How did I not know he created Gambit? Yes, sir. There's talk about like he's so geeky about like the actual physics of the powers of the X-Men. You know, like some of the X-Men, you think like they don't put much time or effort into it. Maybe Chris Claremont put in a bunch of time with when he created some of these, and you know, Kirby and Stan Lee. But like he was talking about the physics of like how he energizes stuff, and it was just like, what are you talking about? He's just so smart that he just, it's important to him, I guess. Funk said would rather keep DC and Marvel separate. They need competition to make each other better. Well, in recent years, they have not. That has not proven outright. Let's pull up. I'm gonna close this down real quick, and let's look up. Let's look up. Let's look up Superman, Spider-Man, Jim Lee, and let's check out the fingers. What's going on here, Jim? What's going on? Oh, this is, I hate Instagram on the thing. Like, yeah. What? Was he saying something about the hands? Tell me he's saying something about the hands. All right. Instagram is not the best place. Let me see. YouTube. I just want a picture. Can we get this picture? Big. There we go. This. All right. So maybe I was being a little bit nitpicky. These hands, when I was looking at them on my phone, not great. Like this is, I guess, okay. I don't know. I saw maybe they did fix it. I don't know what I was seeing. This is not as bad as I remember. I apologize, guys. I apologize. Maybe I was being a little nitpicky. All right, let's see if I can. Let's see how far I get with the colors. See if I missed anything. Yeah, they look broken. They look broken. I did remember them just a little bit worse, but maybe like I just want them to not be as bad. Last year, in the top 50, 40 were DC and 8 were from Marvel. Yeah, so like keeping them separate, not doing Marvel any favors. All right, let's lay down the blues and see how far we get. Let's see how far we get, just because I've been very anxious to color it. Hopefully this doesn't mess everything up. Oh, I can feel it. I feel it's gonna be awesome. That's just the worst when you start getting into it and then it starts drying up. You're like, no, 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 no. I need more juice. I need more juice. But yeah, I'll color the whole kit and caboodle. And if you notice, I did noodle with this. After last week's draw stream, because I do want it to be super fantastic awesome. Throw down the base colors and then we'll call it quits, depending on how fast these colors get laid down. Because then I have like what I thought was a light blue. It's just a little bit darker than I prefer for the base, because then you just have to go darker. But if you have like a light and then a medium and then a dark, that's best. That's best. Love it. Love it. That it just keeps on keeping on. And I bought a 12 pack, so like it can, hopefully one doesn't just run out. But I have found that if you leave the colors alone for a little bit, it like regenerates somehow. It's magic. Magic. All right. Let's see if I can find those other colors. Be right back. Darn it. Let's see. Unprepared to color. Let me see here. It's not in there. Not in there. I have, oh, there it is. There it is. Here we go. Here we go. This was the other blue that I have, but we'll lay down some of the orange. Orange. Let's make sure I get the, okay. Get the S. Get the S going. We need the S. We need it to inspire us to continue. We need it. These are all the right colors for Invincible and Alpha Red. I'm just saying, Brother Benny, you might be on to something. You might be on to something. So next week, Benny has commissioned me to do a Invincible Alpha Red sketch cover. So stay tuned for that. I'm super excited. I have the layout all sketched up. I have to receive the comic yet, but the pose is ready to go. The pose is ready to go. Yeah, so I was talking, Jim Lee would be smart to do more of the characters that he created. That's what Rob Liefeld, when he said he came back to Marvel, he only would do projects that involved Cable, Deadpool, and any of his other creations. Because it paid him. It paid him extra. Like, he got paid for doing the book, and then he would get royalties on top. So he's just kind of a shrewd business guy, on top of being, you know, like his, it's not just his artistic talents, which, you know, you love or hate. And there's enough people who love it that he does fine. And it has done very well for him. So I don't need to defend Mr. Liefeld. But it's just kind of smart for him to only be working on Deadpool or Cable stuff, because he would get royalties from it. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Seems like a no-brainer to me. But that would be fantastic. And Rob Liefeld was saying that he could potentially bring all of his Wildstorm Studios artists back over to Marvel. You know, he brought us some of the best artwork in the early Image years. Early Image years. Fong says, Brother Benny is getting another commission. I think I need to change professions to teaching. I didn't realize they made that much money. I like that caption. Couldn't draw comics, made millions drawing comics. That'd be perfect. That'd be perfect. He would never. He is like the Donald Trump of comics. He's the best. He's the best, whether you agree or not. And you know, he doesn't need you to agree. He just it's just is what it is. You know, his success speaks for itself. You know, haters gonna hate. Haters gonna hate. And you know, you can't argue too much with it. I mean, you can break down his anatomy and all the reasons why he should not be as popular as he is, but it almost doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter, just because he's been so bankable for so long. You can say whatever you want, but he has enough people to move the needle in his direction that you can't argue for too long before you're just kind of overwhelmed by the statistics of it all. I love that. Love that. Couldn't draw comics, made millions drawing comics. Nice. Love it. Also true. Who knows? You know, I do think it's God's favor, you know, on him. Because his dad was a Baptist preacher. You know, I think there's some of that in there. Who knows why God does what he does? But I don't know. We'll get to ask him when we get there. Right, guys? We'll ask him when we get there. We'll find out if Mr. Lifehome is there with us. He's laughing all the way. Laughing all the way. It's looking all right. What do you guys think? Looking kind of all right. It is coming out the way I thought it would. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it, because I do enjoy when a picture turns out like a picture, and the colors are turning out like I pictured, as I was hoping. I'm sure there are people who would do this better than me. Like, I was watching, who is Jim Lee's colorist? Sinclair. Can't remember his first name. Something Sinclair. I want to say it begins with a P, but I can't think of a P name. That's something Sinclair. But he was doing marker colors for Ryan Benjamin's Batman at San Diego last year. And I saw some pictures of it, and it looked almost like computer colored. I was like, wow. And he was doing it, you know, and there was some live footage of him doing it, and it looked fantastic. But yeah, when you have the color theory and stuff all down, and he has a monster set of markers too. So something to be said about that. Something to be said about that. We got the bright yellow. Got the bright yellow and then orangish yellow. Let's do bright yellow, and then come in with orangey yellow. And we'll do the skin too. There it is. Now we're looking super. Wow. Actually found Brother Benny paid for the commission at the end of last year. He was he was clearing out his budget. He's like, how much for this commission when this comes in? I forgot about that. Brother Benny in the 9th hour of 2025 saying, hey, can I prepay for a commission for next year? Clearing that budget. Got to make it Put it on the books for last year. Putting it on the books for last year. But yeah, all right, let's skin tone. What do we got here? We got light. I try, yeah, no, that's light walnut. Let's do light peach. Light peach is like a really, it's like a base Caucasian color in my experience. Got to refill my colors for the convention season starting up here at the end of the month. If you guys are in the New York, central New York area, I'd love to see you. It'd be awesome if you can come out to the Syracuse Collectors Con. Syracuse Collectors Con. That's the 28th and 29th here in Syracuse. Let's see how they color his face here. Just plop it on there. Yeah, they're not too specific, so just kind of do as I would. Do as I would. Let some of the white of the paper kind of do like a shiny. Little shiny. Yeah. And then come back in with a light walnut. Just put it where the shadows would be. And leave a little reflective light. Get some on the knuckles there. Looking all right. Looking kind of all right. All right, guys, I'm winding down here. So I appreciate you hanging out. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And do his hair real quick on his hair. I think they just do the blue, right? They make his hair just blue. Yeah, we just try to keep it classic to what you might find inside. As close to classic mixed with my style as possible. Ooh, that blue hair makes it look classic for sure. For sure. All right. But what was I saying? Alpha Red number 8. Crowdfunding right now at Fund My Comic. fundalphared.com takes you there. And guys, I really appreciate you hanging out. If you like the picture, hit the like button. Subscribe. If you're new, please subscribe. And if you want to know what Alpha Red is all about, go to alpharedcomic.com and read through the thing. And then click the buttons and support Alpha Red number 8. It'll take you to fundalphared.comic or fundalphared.com or shopalphared.com, depending on where you want to support me. Fund My Comic is the fundalphared.com. Shopalphared.com takes you to Kickstarter. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to stop this song before I hit the outro. And nope. Hey, I forgot the noises, the sound effects. I got that drum roll. Come on. I forgot I had those. All right, guys. Let me see if I have any more comments before we leave. Let me see. Very knowledgeable in his comics. Ernest says he's very knowledgeable in comics history, and he still shows off his readers' copies that he has. That's the cool part about it. Like, he has so much love for the comics and the industry. So it's a little infectious. I don't care for how he interacts with people online. But the Robservation show is it brings me back to twice a week. So something to be said about that. Brother Fong says Jim Lee got rejected by DC, and now he pretty much runs it. He absolutely pretty much runs it. Ernest says those are probably top dollar markers he's using. Yeah. Sinclair. I don't know. I don't remember his last name, but let me see. Christopher says he probably has three different 100 color markers sets plus more. Yeah. How do you keep them like juicy? That's my problem. That's the problem I have with markers. Like they fade and stuff. What's going on, Lynn? Is this Lynn out there? Can't wait to see you at the Syracuse Collectors Con at the end of the month. Amen, brother. Can't wait. Let me know if there's anything else that you need from me. Not that my schedule is really opening up, but I have a little bit more room. Do I have my other? I was doing a drawing. Somebody asked me for a commission for the show, and so I liked it so much that I liked the request so much that I started it as I was on the thing here. There it is. That is a current commission that will be delivered at the Syracuse Collectors Con. That's Firefly from G.I. Joe. But yeah, Lynn, I am super excited to see you at the show. Christopher says, have a great night. Awesome work. Thank you. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And we will see you guys next time. Until then, grace and peace. We are out.
From dust of ages, a shadow woke, a seal was shattered, a silence broke, a relic stolen by thieving hands. The searcher breaks in wherever she can. Ancient chains fell, a blade of steel, and winged executioner named Zachiel. Once bound to judgment, wrath, and flame, now walking the earth in evil's name. Blood meets prophecy, truth meets lies. The past screams loud in wingmen's eyes. He stands his ground, he won't break. The kingdom fight is now his fate. When angels fall and the dark ones rise, his faith and fire will light the skies. When the story is told, let it be said, God's champion tonight was Alpha Red. Wingman dreams in broken lights, forgotten sins clawed through his night. Someone else's vision of who he was, of broken wings and a sacred cause. He faces the thief with a heart on fire, the searcher's blade sharp as wire. Beside her he stands, cold and still. Zachiel awaits to do her will. Heroes tremble at heaven's gate. Old blood stirs, but it's not too late. He stands his ground, he won't break. The kingdom fight is now his fate. When angels fall and the dark ones rise, his faith and fire will light the skies. When the story is told, let it be said, God's champion tonight was Alpha Red. If judgment's bright can't be slain, then a new master must take the reins. Not all that's holy walks in light, not all that's wrong is born at night. The searcher pulls her final thread, but our heroes will triumph instead. He stands his ground, hearing wingmen's cry, his kingdom friends doomed to die. When rooftops burn and allies fall, one brave hero must answer the call. He fought till the end as the darkness fled. The war is won because of Alpha Red. The searcher runs, the skies still bleed. Zachiel falters, chained by creed, and in the ash where angels tread, hope still rises, Alpha Red. Hope still rises, Alpha Red. Hope still rises, Alpha Red.